I spoke to this 44-year-old man recently, and we had a really interesting conversation. He told me that he knew his ex was the one after only about 6 dates. They were together for about 5 years and then ended up divorcing. Turns out he realized after our session that he never felt needed or valued in that relationship. For those of you men that are listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're nodding your head because feeling needed and valued is your love language. But she made it very clear to him, I don't need you. I can do everything myself. By the way, that is very avoidant behavior because you're avoiding intimacy. You're avoiding that connection with someone. You're acting as if, well, I'm very independent. I'm successful, so I don't need your help. And I can relate to that, and probably most of you watching this can relate to that. But asking for help builds emotional intimacy. Saying that you don't need anyone's help or you don't need your partner's help destroys the intimacy. And during this time, he tried to fix her ways by changing the way she sees things. And fixing someone is also violent, even if they're unhealthy, because you're basically saying that I don't accept you for the way you are and I want to change you. If they end up changing naturally, that's healthy. But if you're trying to fix them and manipulate them, that's super violent and unhealthy. And the most confusing part of this whole situation for him was like, he said, well, I felt the butterflies. Weren't those actually real? I felt something for her. I had this feeling that she was the one. As I was listening to him, I paused and let him know that, well, I hate to break the news to you, but feelings do lie. Feelings are signals that aren't reliable. You can't go by them. All feelings do is they tell you that, hey, something is going on with me. I need to check in with myself. That's it. And then he's like, well, what about the chemistry? Wasn't the chemistry at least real? And I said, well, chemistry also lies. That spark you think is soulmate, most of the time, it just means familiar trauma. Today, we're talking about something that changed my entire dating life. And honestly, my entire life, vision boards. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, woohoo, vision board crap, hear me out because there's actual neuroscience behind this. And because I used to think the same way you're probably thinking right now, but I was wrong. And I stayed wrong for a long time and it cost me my chance of real love. Okay, so here's the deal. How many times have you said this? I'll trust my gut this time. I said that too. And instead, what do I focused on? I focused on feelings and butterflies. And you know what happened? I kept dating my father. Well, not literally, thank God, but emotionally. Yeah. Unavailable, accomplished, looked great on paper, looked great on a bigger picture of his career success, but was terrible at feelings, terrible at building that emotional connection. Never once when I came back home from school was I asked, how are you doing? What's going on with you? It was always like, how are your grades? What are your grades? Now, most people what they don't get about attraction is we don't actually attract what we want. We attract what we are. Dr. Tara Swart, a neuroscientist who works with executives at places like LinkedIn and MIT, explains it like this. Your brain has something called the Reticular Activating System. It's basically a filter that decides what you pay attention to and what you ignore. An example is, and this happened to me, is when I bought my Subaru in 2019. I started seeing that more people were driving Subarus. Is that the case? No. It was just what I was focusing on. So here's the kicker. It filters based on what you've already decided is important. So if deep down you believe love is so hard, takes so much effort, your brain will literally filter out people who come too easily. If you think you're not good enough, you're going to gravitate towards people who confirm that you're not good enough, and they're going to treat you like crap because the belief is being confirmed. Your brain will find evidence that says you're right. That's not manifestation, that's neuroscience. A 2011 study by Dr. Roberto Cabeza at Duke University found that when you visualize something repetitively, your brain activates the exact same neural pathways as if you were actually experiencing it. Athletes have been using this for decades. They visualize that perfect race, that perfect shot, and their performance actually improves. But here's what we don't talk about. Most of us us already doing this. We're just visualizing the wrong things. We're replaying old heartbreaks. We're imagining worst case scenarios. We're seeing ourselves alone, rejected, or settling. And our brain is taking notes. It's saying, oh, this is what you're looking for. You must be looking for someone that doesn't want you. You must be looking for someone that is non-committal because you've told the universe that you're fine being single and alone. So when I ask you to create a vision board, I'm not asking you to wish upon a star. I'm asking you to reprogram your filter. Let me guess, you've got a list. Tall, educated, funny, ambitious, loves dogs, close to family, good in bed. Well, yeah, I had one too. I made many spreadsheets. No joke. I weighted certain qualities higher than others. Very pragmatic, very engineer of me. And you know what wasn't on my list? Safety. I never once wrote down, I want someone I can disagree with without feeling like I'm about to be abandoned. Or I never wrote down, I want someone who can handle my tears without freezing or walking away or telling me I shouldn't feel that way. Or I want someone who tells me when they're upset instead of disappearing for 3 days. I wanted the aesthetics of a relationship, the dinner dates, the flowers, the travel photos, and the guy who'd look good at my friend's wedding. But I didn't want the infrastructure, the emotional plumbing that actually makes love work, because that has to do with feelings, and feelings are icky. Well, Psychology Today published research showing that people who visualize only outcomes, like getting an A on a test, actually perform worse than people who visualize a process, like studying effectively. The same thing applies to relationships. If all you're visualizing is the end outcome, the end result, like the wedding, the house, the happy ending, you're skipping the part where you're actually becoming someone who can build that. You're focusing on the destination, but relationships are a journey. And if you don't know what kind of journey you want, you're just going to end up on someone else's trip. Can I be real with you for a second? I was engaged once in 2014. He was exactly what I thought I wanted. 6 feet tall, 6 figures, college educated, into meditation, spirituality. I thought we were completely aligned. Turns out we weren't. He had a temper, classic narcissistic energy, emotionally unavailable as hell, but I ignored all of it because on paper, he checked the boxes. When the relationship ended, I hit a bottom I didn't know existed. And I won't go into all of this here on this episode, but that's when my rebirth to God happened and I put all trust in him. That trust led me to a 1.5 year break from my family. No joke. I called my mom and said, I need space to figure out who I am without all of you. She cried. I cried. My dad thought I joined a cult, but I knew something had to change because I was always choosing the same kind of person. And it wasn't their fault. It was mine. So I did the work. I did 12-step programs, therapy, Buddhism. I went into church for many, many years, became a Christian, acupuncture, read every book, went to every retreat. I was like a relationship research project and I was a subject. And somewhere in that process, someone introduced me to vision boards, not the cute Pinterest kind, the deep, intentional, what do I actually need to feel safe in love kind. And at first I resisted. I thought, this is corny. This is silly. This is for people who believe in magic. But I tried it anyway and it changed everything because when I sat down to make it, I realized I had no idea what I wanted. Thought I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know what I needed. And I certainly didn't know what I wanted, not in this level of detail. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm hosting a workshop this January. In this workshop, we're creating vision boards together, but not random collages, strategic, intentional mapping. We're going to focus on 6 areas, and I'm going to walk you through why each one matters. The first one is, this is safety. That's number 1. This is the foundation. Safety doesn't mean boring. It means, can you be yourself without fearing judgment of others? Can you express a need without worrying they're going to leave me? Can you have conflict without it turning into warfare? For me, safety looks like open communication, transparency. If someone's losing interest in me, I don't want to be ghosted. I want them to tell me they're not interested. That's transparency. That's alignment. If they can't do that, they're not for me, no matter how hot they are or how much we have in common. The second is physical alignment. This includes attraction. Yep. Also, where do they live? What's their health like? Do they care about their body? I learned the hard way that long distance doesn't work for me. I need proximity. I need someone who values fitness like I do because those things actually matter for compatibility. The third is mental alignment. Are they curious? Do they read? Do they challenge themselves intellectually? Do they have growth mindset or a fixed mindset? You can't force someone to evolve if they're not already on that path. You're going to end up super frustrated with them, and you'll end up being their therapist or relationship coach if they're not on that path with you, which is super unhealthy. The fourth is is relational? What are their values? How do they handle conflict? How do they communicate when they're upset? Do they know what nonviolent communication is, or at least care enough to learn? This is huge for me. I've done years of work on this, and I need someone who values that too. Otherwise, we're going to be speaking two different languages. Fifth is spiritual alignment, not religious necessarily, but what do they value? What gives their life meaning? Do they believe in something greater than themselves? For me, that's God, but for you, it might be community, purpose, or connection to nature. Whatever it is, you need to know, and you need to be with somebody who's aligned. And the sixth is financial alignment. Yep, we're going there. Money does matter, not because you need to marry rich, but because financial values reveal character. Are they responsible? Do they have goals? Do they spend impulsively or plan for the future? Do your money mindsets clash or complement each other? These 6 areas create a filter, a framework, a way to evaluate not just if someone is a good person, but if they're good for you. Here's the interesting part. Research from the Journal of Creativity and Mental Health found that vision boards help with identifying exploration and self-efficacy, especially for people who have faced barriers or discouragement, which I know everyone listening to this podcast has. We've been discouraged by relationships. We have faced roadblocks. But what this means is, in other words, if you've been hurt before, if you felt stuck, if you doubted your ability to find healthy love, vision boards can help you rebuild trust in yourself. Another study found that when you engage emotionally with your goals, when you actually feel what it'd like to be like to achieve them, what would that look like to achieve my goals? Your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that motivates you to take action. And in my workshop, we're going to go through what the action steps are to make your vision come true. So when you look at your vision board and really connect with what's on it, you're not just daydreaming. You're chemically priming yourself for action. Most people mess up here. You can't just visualize the outcome. You have to visualize the process. If you only see yourself in a perfect relationship, your brain gets complacent. It thinks the work is already done. But if you see yourself becoming the kind of person who's ready for that relationship, if you see yourself setting boundaries, communicating clearly, doing the inner work, that's when change happens. So here's what we're doing in the workshop. First, we're going to get clear on your why. Why do you want a healthy relationship? Not just because I'm lonely or because I'm 40 and society says I should, but why deeply, personally, do you want to be in a healthy relationship? What's at stake if nothing changes? What becomes possible if it does? Then we're writing your desire, 4 sentences or less. This goes into the center of your board. Around it, you're adding images, words, symbols for each of the 6 areas: safety, physical, mental, relational, spiritual, and financial. But it's not just pretty pictures. We're identifying must-haves, hard stops, and action steps. Now, your must-haves are your non-negotiables. Those are the things that are absolute deal breakers if you don't have them. Your hard stops are things that are going to stop you. They're going to absolutely stop you from going over or after this person, regardless of how hot or attractive they are. And then your action steps are the action steps you're going to take to actually attracting the person and becoming that person. So for instance, on my vision board, when we come to the non-negotiables, for me, it has to be somebody who is into health. That's an absolute non-negotiable. So no drugs, no smoking, any of that. Absolute. When it comes to hard stops, they have to be local. I'm not willing to be with anyone that is more than 60 miles away. Another one that I wanted to talk about, I didn't mention this, but this needs to be a hard stop for all of you out there that are dating, is going, if you're on a dating app and somebody has a lot of, or has some bikini pictures, they have body pictures, they're flexing on the beach. Those are not serious daters. Those need to be your hard stops. Action steps are what you need to do to not only attract the person aligned to you, but you need to be doing these things to become that person you want on your vision board. Because this isn't about manifesting only. This is about your it's not only about manifesting your person, but becoming the person you would also be lucky to meet. Your vision board becomes your compass, your GPS. It guides your conversations. It reminds you of your standards. It keeps you from settling when someone's hot but emotionally unavailable shows up, because trust me, those people will show up. Trust me, they will. Yeah, I'm a relationship coach and I'm still single. I'm still dating. I'm still learning, and I don't have it all figured out. But I know this clarity. The thing that I do know is clarity, feeling, and aligned action. Those three things are the formula. Not just clarity, not just feeling, definitely not just the action steps. All three together. And when you get clear on what you want, you connect emotionally with why it matters, and you take aligned action to become someone who's ready for it. That's how you stop repeating patterns. That's how you build a life where love doesn't cost you your peace. So here's my challenge for you. After you finish this episode, I want you to journal 4 questions. Write down these 4 questions, and I want you to journal the answers to each one of them. The first question is, why do I want a healthy relationship? What's really at stake? The second question is, where am I in misalignment with the kind of partner I say I want? The third question is, which of the 6 areas, safety, physical, mental, relational, spiritual, or financial, do I usually overlook? Last question is, what's one action I can take this week that aligns with my vision? Now, don't skip this. Write it down, because awareness without action is just wishful thinking. And if you want to go deeper, if you want the full template, the guided questions, my exact framework, join me in the vision board workshop. We're doing this together. You'll walk away with a complete board, total clarity, and a shift in how you show up in dating. The link is in the description. And remember, you're not looking for someone to complete you. You're looking for someone to complement the whole, emotionally available person you're becoming. Let's build this together. Reserve your seat. Link again is in the description. See you next time.